You note that 86% of Americans right now don't get any form of paid leave. So you've proposed the Family Act. If you can get this thing through, and it's going to be a tough sell, if you can get it done, what will it fundamentally change for all Americans?
Oh, it'll help the economy grow, and it will make sure that more members of families can stay in the workplace longer. It particularly affects women. For a lot of women, every time they have a child, anytime anyone in their family gets ill, whether their parents are ill or suffering from cancer, they often feel they want to ramp off, they want to be there for their loved ones. And if you don't have any sick days and you don't have any vacation days, sometimes you just can't, because you have to choose between putting food on the table and providing for that loved one. And so this makes it possible for women to stay in the workplace longer, for all family members to stay in the workforce longer, earn their full potential, help the economy grow. And what we know is, because we don't pay leave in this country, women lose about $320,000 in their lifetime, and men lose $280,000 in their lifetime because of this ramping on and ramping off.
What you're proposing is a tax. It's about a $4 a week tax, $2 from the employee, $2 from the employer. How do you get that through a Republican-led Congress?
Well, because it's not a lot of money, people support it. You poll America on this idea, overwhelming Dem, Republican, women, men, they support this. So the country has already moved on. Congress on its best day is 20 years behind the rest of the country. So we're where we need to be in terms of a nation. We want it, every other industrialized country has it, and we know it's good for our families, and we know it's good for the economies.
I was just reading this relatively new Pew study. It's from 2016, and what they found is, of the Americans, Democrats and Republicans, that overwhelmingly support paid leave, they also overwhelmingly support it being funded through employers only.
Well, when you ask them, would you spend $2 a week so that you could be with a newborn, that you could be with your mother if she's diagnosed with breast cancer, so that you can be with your spouse if he gets injured at work? I think people say yes. It's such a small amount of money. It's 0.2% of their income. On average, it's $2 a week. And when I talk to the employers and say, would you spend $2 a week on each employee so they have this? They say yes. It's the cost of a cup of coffee a week. That's the kind of math people will buy into and say, I will be for this because it's affordable. It's $104 a year per employee. It's not a lot of money.
Would this mean that some of the minimum wage workers in this country at fast food restaurants, for example, hourly workers, even if they're not full-time, would get
all workers
would
short
get
term,
12 weeks paid leave for a new child?
Yes, they would. Part-time workers, full-time workers, big companies, small companies.
Okay. Ivanka Trump has written about this. She's put her own proposal forward. In her latest op-ed in the Wall Street Journal earlier this month, she pointed out that only 6% of workers in the bottom income quartile, right, the bottom 25%, have access to paid leave. Only 6%. And those are the folks, frankly, as you know, Senator, that need it more than you do or than I do. Do you feel like you have an ally in this White House, in Ivanka Trump, on this?
Well, we have to see. We need President Trump to support this more than anything. And I'm grateful that she's spoken out about it and that she's working towards it. I think the way I've written the bill is far superior because it applies to everyone and it applies to all life events, which is really important. And unfortunately, the way Ivanka has offered to pay for it is through state unemployment insurance. And state unemployment insurance has to pay for unemployment. There's not enough money there, and so it's unpaid for. So this is paid for. It's self-funding, it's self-sustaining, and it's affordable.
Is there, you know, the word of the year, I suppose a lot of Americans would like to hear more of is compromise, right? So is there an area of compromise for you where you can, I don't know, meet her in the middle on this one? As you know, your Republican counterpart, Senator Marco Rubio, has also proposed a form of paid leave. That is more of a tax credit to companies that give it. But is there a middle ground for you, Senator, do you think?
Well, all the other ideas that we've heard about are fine first steps. They're just not national paid leave. So my job this year is really to work hard to find a Republican lead in the U.S. Senate. I am very eager to do that, and I've met with several Republicans, and I'm optimistic I will get a Republican lead.
Give us, make some news, break some news here. Who
there's no
is
news
on
yet.
your side most in the Republican Party?
I bet you could guess all those names yourself, but I'm hoping
I'm going to throw a few of them out there. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. Am I anything?
Perfect. They're awesome women, and I'm hoping that I will work with both of those women on paid leave. And there's others. There's some men as well. So I really think there's,
Rubio?
I've talked to Marco about this, and he said he would look at my bill. He wanted to do just a tax credit or a tax deduction, which is great for businesses that already are offering it, but it doesn't bring in new businesses. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
Are you more optimistic as we wrap up, Senator? Are you more optimistic now than you were, say, a year ago on this thing?
I am. My goal 2 years ago was just that this issue would be debated in the presidential debates. It was. It was supported by 2 Democratic candidates, and 2 Republican candidates had their own versions of their own bills. That's important. And so this is something we've been debating on a nonpartisan basis now for a couple of years. And so the American public are with us. So I think we should really focus on what's the right solution and then try to move that forward.